Hi everyone, welcome again. It's Mike again from Cavill. I just want to go through another area for us to look through, common theme within the hospitality sector. It's a really live topic at the moment as well. You might have heard of them, 0-hour contracts, or you might have heard of as and when contracts. Exactly the same thing. Okay, the premise of these contracts in broad principle, if you haven't heard of them before, is that actually you get people to work for you under a contract, but that contract has no hours, 0 hours. And the premise is that they work as and when you need them. So it gives you an elastic workforce to work around you. However, we're going to touch on a couple of points here as to why there's a stigma attached to these. Are they even suitable? Should you even be using them? Should you be staying clear? Or when can you use them and when should you use them? Okay? Like I said, it's in the press at the moment, it's live, it's been there for quite some time, for a couple of years now. There's a huge stigma that's attached to these contracts. People don't like these contracts. There's been a lot of negative press around these contracts, some justified, some unjustified. The actual fact here is recently, this year, 2017, it's being told to us that actually there's been an increased usage of as and when contracts and an increased amount of staff that are actually being employed through as and when contracts. So then, despite all the negative press, despite what's being said about as and when contracts or 0-hour contracts, they're still going up. So we're still employing more people on 0 hours. The other thing is there's no guarantee for individuals, like I said, who work through a 0-hour contract. There's zero guarantee they're going to get work. That's the big stigma, that's the big negative press around these contracts. There's no guarantee of work for people that work through these contracts. The flip side to that, there's no guarantee of work for the business as well. So when people are employed through these contracts, they don't have to come in and work. When the business says to them, I've got hours free, there's a shift available, can you come in please? They can say no. There's no guarantee these people, although they're employed on these contracts, will be there for you when you need them. Do they have a place in the current environment? Do they have a place with our employment for individuals that are seeking employment? The answer to that is yes, they do. They absolutely do have a place. They do have an ability to support businesses and also to work and operate and meet what people need as well in their everyday lives. But that's not always the case. So I've got to be clear there. These contracts, they're not always suitable for every type of employer. As an example, our clientele for us is hospitality sector organisations. So we're looking at restaurants, cafes, hotels, bistros. Those are the kind of clientels that we deal with. In that area, could a 0-hour contract exist and be supportive for the type of staff they're employing and also the type of their business? Yeah, actually it can. It does work and it is suitable. Let's look at healthcare. Let's look at caring for vulnerable adults or children. Is it suitable to have as and when contracts there? Probably not. I actually question the ethics of whether you can actually have people working on as and when or 0-hour contracts when you're caring for vulnerable adults. If you're going out and you're going to people's homes and you're caring after, say for example, very vulnerable adults who have dementia, is it acceptable to have a 0-hour contract worker there who can pick and choose to say no to doing the work, and where you have no guarantee of the hours and where you have no guarantee that they're going to be able to turn up to the person's home and give them the care that they need? That's probably not ethical. So in that sense of things, I'd always say might not be the environment where these should be used. That being said, both examples do operate as and when contracts quite frequently, and both will probably defend the situation as to why they do use them. So that's just a personal point of view and a personal perspective as to what I would advise. So the next question is, should I versus shouldn't I? Should I use an as and when contract within my business? Shouldn't I look at using an as and when contract within my business? So again, I mean, when we looked at the restaurant industry, and we looked at a restaurant as an example, we can look at as to why that may work for individuals in that environment. But let's just have a look at the mixture here. Let's do a permanent versus 0 hours kind of situations. So when you have a contract for someone who's permanent and they've got hours within their contract, which is what most normal contracts are, guess what? You're gonna have to pay them. And that's the difference between perm and 0 hours. So with permanent staff, they're gonna have set hours. They may have a set shift, they may have a set pattern. Either way, they're going to get paid. So the other thing is of course, you've got someone there on a permanent contract, they're guaranteed to attend, right? No. Really? They're not. One of the biggest things we get involved in at the moment with restaurants is actually people not attending work who do have a permanent contract, turning up late. People are people. You'll always have individuals and individual situations, problems and scenarios that occur in everyday life for everyone. So when you have people on a permanent contract, of course you're going to get that. You'll get that with a 0 hour contract too. But it doesn't mean that you're guaranteed that if that person's got 20 hours on their contract, they're going to come in 20 hours a week, every month. It's not going to happen. It's not a guarantee. So looking at 0 hour contracts then, so what's the comparison here? What's the alternative? So with 0 hour contracts, as an employee, you've got a more elastic workforce. You can shrink it when you need to, when you don't have the clients there. You can increase it when actually you've got a busy period of time. Maybe it's the summer, you're a restaurant, you're on the beach, you've got lovely weather and more people want to come to your restaurant in that particular week. You need to increase your staff. You've got the elasticity to be able to do that. And again, when it's winter and it's cold and it's miserable and you're on the seafront and no one's going to want to be there in the wind out on the deck, you can decrease your staff. So you've not got a firm fixed cost of staffing costs throughout the year. You can actually move that up and down to what you need when you need it. So there is support there for you. Again, that doesn't mean these people are going to accept to come into work on those hours for those shifts. You can't guarantee the work. You can't guarantee that they'll turn up. So that's one of the negatives for as and when contracts. As and when contractors still get annual leave entitlements. You don't take that away. So they're still entitled to annual leave, just like permanent staff would be. And obviously we can address that and talk about that in a different subject. But you do get the biggest bonus with 0 hour contracts is the elasticity of your workforce. And that's why sometimes that's better where you've got ebb and flow. And that may be less the case in some organisations. The next thing you need to think about if you're looking at as and when contracts and you're saying, yes, I need that elasticity. Perhaps you are a restaurant, maybe you own a cafe, maybe even actually you've got a caring organisation and you still think that as and when contracts would apply to you. What's the thing you need to think about? Okay, so like we said, to cover your back in terms of how elastic your workforce is and the non-guarantee of work for them and the non-guarantee of work for you, it's good to create a bank. I'm talking about a pool of staff. A number of people that you can use and you know that what their availability is, when they can work, when they can't work, when they need time off, when their exams are, when they're late at school, when they're in college, when they're at university. What's their availability? So you know that if you need someone on a Saturday evening to come in and fit a short shift at short notice, who's going to be available? Who have you got that you can offer work to? And then obviously the other thing is with 0 hour contracts, you need to be honest, you need to be transparent. So you can't bring people in and say, you've got no guarantee of work, no guarantee of hours, but you have to be available when I need you. They don't. So you need to be honest with them. Give them a contract, let them know what their rights are and their situation. So you don't want to get a negative environment, you don't want to get a negative culture in place. Give them an rough idea as to the sort of hours that can be there and can be available if you can. Give them hours so they can train in your environment. Don't think they're going to come in fresh and be able to pick up as and when you need, just like everybody else. Give them time to train, give them paid time to train. And also don't treat them differently to staff. If you have other staff that are permanent, don't treat them any differently to those. Build your culture, inspire your individuals. So that's just a brief background around 0 hours and as and when contracts. Thank you very much for listening. Please click subscribe if you found this valuable. Please let us know any comments if you think there's anything we've missed that should have been added. It's quite a contentious issue. Let me know your thoughts around as and when or 0 hour contracts. And remember, keep it simple, #simplicity, and we'll be speaking soon. Thanks, that's Mike. Bye.